My guest today is Sasha Titchkosky, a trained lawyer who after 5 years in the corporate world left and started Koskela, a furniture and homewares design business that manufactures all its products right here in Australia. Welcome to In Her Shoes.
Thanks very much, Susie.
Now, you're an accountant, a lawyer, you started your own business. Tell us how the business came about.
Well, it really came about, I'd been working at the stock exchange for about 6 years and set up and ran their communications area. And I had probably got to a point where I felt like I'd done most of the stuff that I really wanted to do within that organisation. And at the same time, I met my partner, who is both my husband and my partner in the business. And he was feeling quite similar as well at the time. So he was an interior designer and had been working on big corporate projects and had always loved furniture design and was sort of dabbling in designing things specifically for fit outs. Both of us had a big break, went overseas, and I distinctly remember a moment when we were sitting in a cafe in Paris. There was this funny French bulldog that was looking at us and we were both saying, there has to be something else we could do. It would be so great if we could do something ourselves. And so that's when we started to explore the idea of setting up our own furniture design business.
You have an interesting company motto
Yep.
that is follow your heart, trust your judgment and do it for joy.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Really, I wanted to find something that would be an overarching idea, I guess, for how we went about doing what we do. And for us, like, one, I think it's important to trust your instincts. Two, I think to, follow what feels right for you, do things the way you believe that they're the right way to behave and to interact with people. And then lastly, to really enjoy what you're doing. And that sort of has filtered through our entire organisation, I guess, and we've kind of always said to people, you have a choice about whether you want to work here or not. Of course, we love you all to stay, but to be honest, if it gets to the point where you're not enjoying it anymore, then it's probably time for you to find somewhere else that you really want to go, because we believe that life's too short not to really enjoy what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. Now, yours is a boutique operation
Yep.
in an industry where there are some very big players.
Yep.
What do you do to position yourself against the competition?
Yeah, it was something we thought really long and hard about when we first started. So one, we placed a lot of importance on the branding of the organisation. So we were really lucky to, from the very beginning, to work with a really talented graphic designer who sort of developed all of our identity. And we worked hard at just trying to do things slightly differently from all the corporates that were sort of our competitors in the market. So it was how we went about marketing ourselves, what kind of trade events and things that we did or didn't participate in. We focused very much on building really strong relationships with our client base. And then the last one really was all about the design of our products and just challenging the notion of what people might want in their corporate environments and things. And then lastly, because we design and produce our own products, it enables us to do a lot of bespoke work, which really works for a lot of our corporate clientele now.
And your products are all made in Australia, which again, I don't know whether people realise is actually quite a unique thing.
Yeah.
Are there advantages and disadvantages to that?
Yeah. If I start with the disadvantages first, probably some of it is just access to technology. So everyone probably realises that the manufacturing base is slowly shrinking in Australia. And that means in some instances we just don't have access to some of the sort of capabilities that they do offshore. So for instance, we were working on a new table when we first started, and quite a few times when Russell was going to the factories talking to them about the design, they would just say to him, "Oh, mate, what are you wasting your time for? Just go and get it done in China." And for us, we just went, no, that wasn't why. We really wanted to support the manufacturing industry here. It was something that we really believed in. And for us, the advantages of doing that is, one, that we know that ethically everyone who works manufacturing our products is paid according to Australian conditions. Then we also know what goes into all of our products, and where it also enables us to customise them really easily because the manufacturers are near us, so we can actually interact with them really well. And it probably also helps us in prototyping things a lot faster. So
one of the other areas that I know you're big on is the impact of the work that you do, the impact that that has on the environment. How important do you think it is today for businesses to consider the environment?
In our business, I think it's almost becoming the norm. So we work on a lot of green buildings, so buildings that are certified as having a Green Star rating, and you just wouldn't get a look in on any of those projects if you didn't have some form of independent verification of the environmental credentials of your products. So I believe in the end it will become a standard really, and it just will be something that everyone will have to do when they operate in business. It will no longer sort of be a competitive advantage for one or two people to be out front.
We've seen a lot of home improvement shows come to television, just like we had, you know, the boom of food shows. Now we have a lot of home improvement. How has that, one, impacted your business, and two, changed consumer behaviour, if at all?
Yep. I think it's probably made people more design aware. So I think there's a growing proportion of the population that are more house proud. They kind of have equated, I guess, having a home that gives them pleasure with sort of a feeling of well-being, I guess. So I think the only thing I would say about some of those shows is that they tend to be a little too formulaic. And for me, I think at the end of the day, your house is your home, and it should really be representative of what you sort of, what makes you happy, rather than what some stylist says is the latest trend and what you should have. So,
But the trend's good for business?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think whatever it takes to kind of make people more aware of design, I think is a really good thing for us. So, yeah.
You've been in business 11 years, enough time to make some mistakes, to have a few lessons, to probably have up your sleeve a few things that hold true as strategies that you work by. What would some of those be?
I think one is probably learn from your mistakes. So that is take stock of what's happened and examine why it's happened, and then try and put in place strategies to prevent it from happening in the future. And I think that's probably something we do quite well. So then the other one is don't dwell on them. Don't become preoccupied by mistakes that happen. Everyone makes them, and hopefully you make some that aren't too, disastrous. And lastly, I think it's probably the idea of trusting your judgment. I think, I don't know whether any management school will ever teach you how to be an instinctive manager, and I think a lot of the research has shown that the really good managers or good CEOs and things end up actually operating instinctively rather than from stuff that they've learnt from management schools.
Can I ask you on that, is that something that has always been there for you, or as your confidence and knowledge grew, you were able to be more instinctive?
I actually think it was probably always there, and it's when you start to mistrust your instincts, I think, that you get into hot water. And I think in some ways, like as our business is evolving and we're just about to embark on a whole new stage of growth, you almost start to doubt your instincts more, and I think that's when you can get into hot water. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks, Susie.